I think sometimes we underestimate the power of the correct negative cognition. In fact, I think the correct negative cognition sort of drives the whole process. So the more accurate you can be with that negative cognition, the smoother your session is going to go. So there's a few factors to consider. One is all cognitions are not made equal. So there are these couple cognitions, I call them individuating cognitions or transformational cognitions. And there's two of them, basically, maybe three. The first one is I'm not good enough. And the second is I don't matter. And sometimes I don't belong. Depends on the person. And according to Sue Johnson, who developed emotion focus marital therapy, she says that all couples have either one or both of those cognitions. And she says 85% of couples, one person doesn't matter, the other person isn't good enough, and they trigger each other. And then there's also the remaining 15%, you might have two I don't matter people or two I'm not good enough people. So when I went through training about 10 or 12 years ago, that's basically all I remember. And I'm like, that must, in other words, everybody walking around is either an I don't matter person or an I'm not good enough person. And I'd never heard that before. And then she gave examples of how couples, trigger each other, how an I don't matter person behaves and how an I'm not good enough person behaves. She calls them pursuers and withdrawers. I'm not going to get into all of that. But once I heard that, I started thinking that I just want to ask myself, when I meet a new client, is this person an I don't matter person or an I'm not good enough person? Over these last 12 years, it's always one of those or both. And those are powerful cognitions, because if you start tampering with those cognitions, that's the core belief of the client. And that changes everything for them. So you have to be careful when you use those cognitions. So that's one thing. Another thing is a lot of times trainees, newer folks will just sort of hand the list of cognitions to the client, say, what do you think it is with this event? And I'm pretty much against that completely. I think that, and the people that I consulted with, I know Roy Kissling, when I was first learning EMDR, William Zangwill, they were not a fan of that. They pretty much said, listen, the people are paying you. You're the one who knows what a cognition is. You've done this 1,000 times. Why would you ask them? So I was never in the habit of handing people out this list of cognitions. I sort of had to learn that list, kind of listen and see and try to, muddle my way through helping the client be accurate with those cognitions. But what I learned to do was paraphrase the client's story. And instead of reflecting the emotion, I reflected the cognition. And usually they'll be right on board. The better I got at that, the more, that sounds about right. And I don't have any disagreement. We don't have to discuss it much. And I've gotten better at this over the years. So that's something that you can try, is to paraphrase a story and then reflect the cognition. And so what would that sound like? So I had a client the other day who came in, and she was upset because somebody cut in front of her at the grocery store. She was stopped at the grocery store on her way to my session with her. And she was really upset by this, like an over the top kind of upsetness. So I like those kind of activations. This is like past is present. It's right there in front of me. So I know I'm probably going to target this grocery store trip, despite all the other trauma she had in her life. And so that the way that I would identify the cognition with her was, so you're like waiting in line, you're kind of in a hurry, you're late, trying to get to the appointment here, and this guy just kind of walks right in front of you and gets in front of you, puts his stuff on the checkout counter, and you're sort of shocked and you're about ready to explode. But you don't want to say anything, you don't want to make a scene, so you're just sitting there patiently. So he just cuts in front of you like you're not even there, like you're invisible. So like you didn't matter to this guy at all, did you? You didn't matter at all. No. Okay, there's the cognition. I don't matter. And that's the cognition, the target. I see that picture, I see that target, and we just went to work, and it just connected to a million I don't matter moments in this woman's life. So that's a nice way, because we all know how to paraphrase. And instead of reflecting the emotion, which we typically do, I would encourage you as an EMDR therapist to learn to accurately reflect the cognition. So I hope these suggestions help. I hope it'll make you a little more efficient in phase 4. And good luck on your EMDR journey. If you like the video, I'll be making some more. So feel free to subscribe. If you have any questions, leave out questions in the comments section. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have. Thanks for listening.